Hello friends, this is Lindsay. Welcome back to my channel. If you are not subscribed and you love paper, then please hit subscribe below and the little bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified whenever there's new videos posted. So, if you love paper, today's a little bit of an eye candy video, but it's also extremely practical because today I want to talk about paper scraps and what do you do when they get out of hand. This is only one of my one of my buckets of paper scraps. But anyway, so when they get out of hand like this and I keep throwing them on top, and now the pile is bigger than the container, and if I try to sort through to get stuff, papers go everywhere. What do we do? What are some ways we can reduce this and use it? So while I'm going through it, I want to talk about things that I do with my paper scraps. So the first thing is kind of separate them into what they are. Like, these are strips, and I'm probably going to make paper ribbons out of them. So I can kind of set those aside. Then I have bigger wallpaper scraps and smaller wallpaper scraps. And when I start separating them, then I have a better idea what I have. This is just all, excuse me, bits and pieces of wallpaper. And once I start separating it, then I can do something with it. But this bucket pretty much just stays on one of my craft tables, and when I cut things down for projects and I have scraps left that I don't want to throw out, I throw them over here into this bucket, and it has gotten so out of hand. I have been trying to not really downsize, but organize and get rid of what I'm not using and make sure I can get to stuff. That is not wallpaper. So as I'm doing this, I have a drawer next to me with like paper strips and small pieces like that. So if I put these in the drawer next to me, when I'm ready to make paper ribbons, I know right where they are. These bigger pieces of wallpaper, or, you know, they could be cardstock or whatever, they're going to just be probably kept like that. But obviously it will take me way too long to go through all of this without, you know, on film. So I'm just getting a little bit sorted here, and then we'll talk about what to do with them. So one thing that is obvious and rather cathartic, makes you feel good. Oh, and look at these scissors, you guys. So Joanne sent these to me for Christmas. Thank you so much, Joanne. I was wondering where I had set them. They're stuck in my scrap bin. And I've been thinking I needed to use these in a video because how gorgeous are these little scissors, and fussy cutting out ephemera with these just makes you feel so elegant. So yay, I found those. All right. So, what I was saying is one thing that is really cathartic and it makes you feel good, especially if you have a ton of scraps, is to just take a envelope and start stuffing it with useful scraps that you're okay parting with, you know, and obviously if there's trash. When I first started crafting, I did not have money for supplies. It was hard for me to just get the extra money to buy things like glue or things like that. I didn't have, see, these aren't even paper. They're stickers that my sister-in-law sent me for Christmas, and yep, they're in the wrong place. They need to go somewhere else. But I had trouble affording anything. So every tiny little scrap was gold. Obviously now I, you know, can get what I need within reason. And so sometimes you just need to throw something away if you have an overabundance and you know you're not going to really be using it. But if there are things that would be useful for other people, then, you know, get together a whole bunch of scraps, put them in an envelope, and send a random act of kindness envelope to someone. I've done that before as well, and it feels really nice, and they get some new bits and pieces of paper that, you know, They probably don't have the same stuff that you do. And especially if you send it to a new crafter or someone who, you know, maybe one of your pen pals or something like that. Wow, I was cleaning stamps off on this one. I have so many misprints from my digital kits, and I do use these and cut them down, but they shouldn't be in this pile. So that's one thing to do, is send out Happy Mail with your scraps and just kind of get it down. Decide how much space you're going to allow for your scraps, and that would depend upon, you know, are you just doing this for a home hobby? Do you have a business? You know, how much space do you have? If it's one bin of scraps, one bucket of scraps, 2 bins of scraps, one drawer, one dresser full of scraps, decide what you're okay with having. And then if you have way extra, pare it down. And if your journals are starting to pile up and you don't know what to do with them, then I have a new consignment shop for journals, and you can send them to me and I can sell them for you, and I can send you money for that, and you'll have more money to buy new craft supplies. So that's just a side note. If you hadn't heard about that yet, send me a message, we'll chat. It's been very successful so far. I believe that I have a few journals coming in from, I think it's from China today. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm super excited to share those with you probably later today or tomorrow. We'll see sometime this week how everything goes, because I have a tutorial planned for tomorrow. All right, so another thing that you can do that I love doing is start putting together journal covers. This is amazing if you are stuck. Like, oh man, I just don't feel creative. I don't know what to make. I just have all these scraps. What do I do? Just start, you know, like I'm doing here, going through the scraps. And then you can look here at, you know, your scraps and start making covers. If I fold this in half, and I grab my little, whatchamacallit, then I see that this is very close to 3 inches wide. So I will just trim it down to 3 by 3. Now, yes, I did just create some more scraps. They can go in the smaller scrap pile. But now I have a little 3 by 3 journal cover. So I can do that for a few, well, see, that has a, I can do that for like a few different pieces of paper. And I can wind up with journal covers ready to go. And I could either, you know, stop what I'm doing and make the journals right then, or I could set them aside for when I want to make little booklets to put into my journals or whatever. So, you know, they're ready to go. Little covers. I can now put these, you know, somewhere where I can make little booklets. And then that works with bigger pieces too. You know, if I fold that in half, I can measure it out and make a little booklet. So that's something I like to do. You can also fold these long strips like so and make little notebooks, you know, staple in some papers, make little flip notebooks like that. You can make tags galore. Yeah, I get to use my little scissors, but you know, just start cutting some of these down. These scissors are meant for more embroidery or fussy cutting, but you know, this will work. So I can just cut down some tags. Now I have stuff that is usable that I can put right next to me in my crafting station, and they're ready to go and maybe do collage on or ink or whatever. So you can cut down and do that. You can also pull out your paper punches, and this is a tag paper punch, but you know, you can use whatever you want and just put on a movie, put on your favorite YouTube crafter, put on a podcast, and just start punching down. And unless you really cannot afford paper at all, don't keep these extra little bits. You might think, oh, I could use that in collage, but if you have overflowing bins of scraps, let it go, because you're going to be so overwhelmed. Paper multiplies. I honestly believe if you put 2 pieces of paper in a bin, you can come back in a week and the bin will be full. That's what it feels like anyway. So punches, and obviously I'm punching out a bunch of tags. You know, I found like if I only take 1 or 2 paper punches and punch a whole bunch of stuff out, I don't get distracted with, oh, what's the next punch and all of that. So that's something great to do. With little pieces like this, you know, you can save them for collage, cut them down. These I like to leave the coffee dyed flips like that. And it's fun to punch like a little heart or something on one side. You know, staple on some sari silk stamp. I like to just take a rubber stamp and stamp. I don't think, do I have one in here? I do. Yay. This is not my craft room. So I do have a bucket of supplies in here though that I've used for videos, but you can just, you know, grab a wooden stamp or whatever kind of stamp you like and just stamp some of these. They're ready to go to tuck into your journal. I love adding little labels because then people can put the date. Getting scraps down to a manageable size is not easy at all, but I just thought these were a few ideas of what you could do. Obviously it would take us hours to go through all of these, but so what I have done and what I have and what I'm going to do is these strips that I can turn into paper ribbons are going to go into a drawer next to me that I keep strips in. These little punch outs and tags and little booklet covers, these are also going to go in a drawer next to me where I keep things like that. And then these I'll put in a drawer. These I have drawers next to me where I keep smaller and bigger ones so I can, you know, fill those if they're getting low. And ideally I would have hours to go through all of this and just, you know, sit down with a movie, pick a movie, like put on Pirates of the Caribbean or The Sound of Music, or, you know, have an afternoon or an evening where you have nothing to do. Put on a movie that lasts, you know, at least 2 hours. My little boy's being noisy out there. And just grab a few basic supplies on the table, you know, grab like 2 paper punches, a pair of scissors, an ink pad, you know, 3 or 4 stamps that you like, and then just start making piles and get down as much as you can. Even just the 10 minutes that we've been doing this, as you can see, the pile is not quite as high and we are headed in the right direction. I hope this helps some of you. I would love to hear more ideas. These are just kind of like my basic ideas, my go-to ideas, my turn my brain off ideas. I know there's a lot more amazing ideas for using scraps, so if you could fill the comment section below with ideas, that would be great. I would love to have them, love to use them, and maybe tuck them away for a future video on this as well. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.